it's been a long time since you and I have had a conversation. And I don't know if you see the shirt right here. It says San Antonio, Texas. I don't know if you're too big for all the little people now these days, because you're a superstar now in the boxing world. You've had all these incredible fights. But the first question I gotta ask you is, do you miss San Antonio? I know you're in LA right now. What's the vibe with San Antonio? How's it feeling?
No, yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to get back home. Um, I'm training out here in LA now, but I'm always 2-0 as fuck. I'm always representing as much as I can, for our city, and just trying to just put San Antonio on the map for just like what we have as far as talent, as far as athletes. I think I'm biased, obviously. I think there's a lot of greatness that comes out of San Antonio, and I'm just thankful, to be a little piece of that.
Yeah, and I think you said, I want to put San Antonio on the map, but that's already been done. You put San Antonio on the map. You've held championships. You think about people like Bam. You think about people like you, Joshua, the people who have already held titles and stuff. What's your relationship like with, all the fighters in San Antonio at the current moment? What's your thoughts on the landscape within the local community?
No, my thoughts on it, I'm just proud. I grew up with Bam and Josh, since we were kids. They were some of my closest friends, when I was like 10, 11, 12 years old. And, now seeing everything that they have done, for themselves, in and out of the ring, just as a friend, as a supporter, I'm proud of them. I'm proud of everything that we're able to do. Even though the homie, Ramon Cardenas, he showed the world, what he's capable of, when he fought Inoue. And Ramon was another boxer, that, we grew up with boxing. Me and him, we fought in the amateurs. He was actually my last amateur fight. So, just the landscape in San Antonio, especially with boxing, it's always been very talented. And, there's always, I feel like, some of the best fighters, coming out of San Antonio. And like I said, just being a part of that, it's an honor. And it's something I'm very proud of. And that's something I'm always very proud to talk about.
Yeah. So, like, speaking of, I want to keep it San Antonio for as long as I can, because, we hardly have you these days. No, I'm just kidding. But, like, am I making an assumption? I think you are a Spurs fan, right? You are?
No,
okay.
Yeah,
so what's your thought on the Spurs right now? They're second in the Western Conference. I don't know if you had a chance to keep up, but, they have a game in about an hour and a half. They're going to go up against OKC. It's a Wednesday when we're recording this. They're second in the West. What's your thoughts on the San Antonio Spurs? Do you have a relationship with any of those players? And if so, like, what's the type of advice that you guys kind of bounce off of each other, even though you guys are across different sports?
Yeah, and I have a really good relationship with Keldon and Devin Vassell. I think they're the two I would say, that are actually like homies, that I speak to, I ran into at the boxing gym back in San Antonio a couple of times. And I will actually be with them on occasions here and there outside of just what we do. And I think like it's really cool. I think the mentality that we have, even though we are in different world sports, but that mentality is very much the same. And I feel like it just, I don't know if it's a San Antonio thing or what, but even from like the homies Bam, the homie Josh, Ramon, whenever the biggest talkers, but we're always somehow the ones that are making a lot of noise. I think we are very similar in the aspect where we let our work speak for ourselves. And I think that's definitely one of the things that I would say that is very similar with all of us.
Yeah, I've thought about like the careers that the Spurs have. What, like you mentioned, Devin and Keldon, which are the veterans of the Spurs. and I've like looked at your career and I've thought about like your path and your journey as well. I've asked Keldon, about the Spurs pounding the rock philosophy. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's where, you crack the rock, 1,000 times, it never breaks. But that final crack is, when the rock starts chipping away, you start getting the results. You look back at your career and you realize it's not that one crack that broke the rock, but it's everything that happened before that. So I asked Keldon to kind of reflect on that. He gave me a definition of that for him. When I look at your career as well, I feel like you've also gone through your trials and tribulations through your journey. And like you say, you're not the biggest talker. You're not really like outspoken when it comes to like your personal life or anything like that, but if you pay attention to your career, it kind of shows in that aspect. So I kind of want to ask you the same question. What does that philosophy mean to you with pounding the rock and just kind of continuing to go at it, because you're still here after all these years? So what does that mean to you?
Yeah, no, it means a lot. I mean, just back to the whole, right, like, I'm never, talking too much, or I'm never, the one saying a lot, but, I've always just been, taught. I think I have my mom, to really think, for that work ethic, to just, if you want something, go and get it, but, it's not going to come easy. And, it's, especially with boxing, I've had, my ups and downs with the sport, but, I do love, what I do, and, I stay committed to it, year round. I stay in the gym. I stay, always just trying to improve, always trying to do better. And, and I think it was everything with my career. This is going to be my, I think, 5th or 6th time, headlining a major card. And, this is going to be, headlining in Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. And, that's, just even my last fight, I headlined against Pacquiao, and, just seeing, your name, posted all over Vegas, against a name of like a legend. It definitely is something, like, I definitely had to stop myself a couple times and, and remind myself, take this in. Having all my sisters, my family there, my close homies that I have always kept around, that have always held me down. I have a great circle around me, that keep me grounded. And, so it's always nice to look back and reflect on everything. But for me, it's just, I mean, realistically, I see myself in the sport for another 3-4 years. I want to do as much as I can, in these next couple of years, get out, enjoy being a dad, with my daughter, and just being present. But yeah, it's always nice looking back, especially because, like you said, now I'm technically a veteran.
Yeah.
which is crazy to say, especially, when I'm at the boxing gym. But now I'm seeing all these 18, 19, 20-year-olds coming in the gym, and I'm the one giving them advice. Like, man, like, hey, bro, like, start stretching. Like, your body's going to start giving out on you.
You're the old man now.
I'm like, bro, like, you better start rolling out. You better start warming up, because, it catches up quick.
So, yeah, and it's true. Like, like, I couldn't even predict, like, you would ever be going up against a Pacquiao. That's not something you think about, even, like, from an analyst perspective, or just, like, paying attention to sports. That's, like, huge accomplishments. And then you have what you have right now, going up against Ryan Garcia, right? I love, just, like, the way that he, just puts the fight together. And I know I've seen, the comments he said about you, which that's Ryan, right? And I feel like, but I also kind of feel like you've been in those situations before. But what I noticed about you is that, like you said, like, you keep it cool, calm, and collected. You really don't like to talk a lot. But there was a comment that he made that I was like, hold up, I don't really like that. He said that he thinks that you're wearing boots and that you're not as tall as you think you are. But I have been across from you, and you're kind of tall. Yeah. So, like, what you think? What you think you trying to say with that?
What was funny about that? Because, I was wearing Docs, but there, I forgot what photographer it was, but he got the camera angle. He's wearing like the platform Converse that have even more like support or more of a platform than the dogs like themselves. So I mean, I know I'm naturally the bigger guy. You know, I don't know if it's just he's just saying that, you know, so he can try to, you know, psych himself out or whatever. But I know I am the bigger guy out of both of us, and yeah, I don't know. You know, Ryan, he's a character himself. And I think, yeah, that's all I can really like say about that. But yeah, no, it's like I'm for sure taller, but I'm not gonna be the one here like arguing about it or like trying to prove a point on like, you know, what I was wearing or this and that. But
yeah, because I feel like the shoe comment, like, you know, I just say this, like, you know, the personal thing, like, I be hearing, like, men be saying some guys be wearing the platform shoes. I was like, oh, he tried to, like, make a man comment, you know? So,
yeah, no, it's weird. It's weird.
Like, of
but
all
yeah,
comments.
if you do, like, get, like, footage, you know, from, like, I guess like a wider perspective, you can see the Converse or like the shoes he's wearing, and they're like they have a platform on them. I'm like, man,
but you ain't gonna say nothing though. You ain't gonna say nothing.
I don't know. It's
like so how do you know? I think I had seen like somebody was like doing a true or false with you, and they were like, is like your mentality. Or, like, is your mentality important, like, more than physicality? So, how do you prevent people from getting under your skin? Like, they say, like, you're not tall enough. Or, like, they say things like, you're a clown. Or whatever, just to say under your skin. Like, how do you keep that mentality? And, like, you're a dad, like you said. You have a support system around you. But I also know, like, when it comes to the real world, everybody has real-life problems, right? So I'm pretty sure there's like stressors that you are going through that I would never know about. So my question to you is, how does an athlete keep their mentality at a high level, even when they're training in LA, trying to focus on a fight that's this big, people are trying to get under your skin, and you're also the type of person that is going through real life things just like anybody else? What would your advice be to somebody? And for yourself, yeah.
I mean, it's like always whenever I talk to people and they're, you know, they want to know, right, what is it that keeps you going? What is it that that really, you know, keeps you focused? Is like you have to really find your why. And, you know, for me, my why was always just, you know, like my family, you know, like taking care of myself. And, you know, I was always, you know, very blessed to be in the position that I got myself. And, you know, I did come from nothing, you know, grew up on Section 8. We grew up, you know, on government assistance, on WIC and everything, you know. So I definitely, you know, I grew up struggling, but I grew up, you know, having my mom, having my grandma, like a household of very independent, strong woman, who really ingrained, you know, that work ethic. And, so yeah, like for me, it was always, you know, just like my family, you know, like making sure that they were good. It was always like a really big part of it. And now it's like, now I have a daughter, so now like a lot has changed for me, you know, especially mentally. Now I'm thinking long term, you know, I want to, like I said, you know, that's when I'm like, okay, I don't want to box forever, you know, I want to retire early so I can be present, you know, in my daughter's life and just be there, you know, at every milestone. And so yeah, you know, I tell people, you know, find their why, but don't find it in materialistic like BS. Like find what truly makes you happy, you know, what truly drives you, and what makes you want, you know, to just keep going, you know, like every day.
I got a few more questions. I know you got so much to do, but your daughter, you mentioned your daughter a couple times. What's it like being a dad? And I know you got women fighters in your family, your sister. You know, you have mentioned that you guys go toe to toe in the ring with each other. What's little mama like? Do you think she's got the fighter spirit in her? Is she more a girly girl? Like, where is she? And does she want to be a fighter? Does she get nervous for you? What is it?
She's still very young. She's barely about to be like 18 months. But she'll be there on fight night. With my family. I don't want her to be a fighter, but I think she just naturally has that like has that in her, because already from what I'm seeing with her, she's very traviesa, very she's very physical, like the way she shows affection, and I'm like, man, like I mean, of course, she has boxing on both sides of from my family, and then from her mom's side, the Figueroa side. She's actually in the UK right now with her mom, because her Theo Brandon Figueroa, he's gonna fight this weekend, so she's out there, to with her mom to support him, and no, she's for sure that's the best thing I have ever experienced, and I love talking about it. I could go on all day about being a dad and what that does, how that fulfills me, and but yeah, I love it. I miss her already, and yeah, I can't wait to see her on fight week.
You think she's daddy's girl, yes or no?
I think she's bold, actually, because when it's my time with her, like, she has no problem like going with me, and then whenever I take her back to her mom, she she loves being with her mom also, so she loves being with like both of us, and it's really like if we try to give her to family or friends, that's when she'll cry for like one of us.
I think.
Yeah, so.
I think, like, it sounds like, she's going to be just like you. I think if you have a dad that's like that, we always end up like our dads, especially when we look up to them. So I look forward to seeing, how that's going to end up. So I'll be asking you more about that before you retire. But what can people expect before we get out of here? What can people expect from Mario Barrios? Since you're not saying too much, what is the vibe for the fight? What is your message to San Antonio, and what can San Antonio expect out of Mario Barrios?
Yeah, I mean, my message, to everybody back home, as always, thank you, for the support. Tune in on the 21st, buy us tickets. It's gonna be a hell of a show. Ryan, he's saying he's focused, he's saying he's ready. Regardless of his persona and who he is outside of boxing, he's a dangerous opponent. He's promising a bloody fight, so I'm of course I'm always going into the fight war ready, for 12 rounds, and I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna test him, every way I can, and it's gonna be an exciting night of boxing.
It's gonna be exciting. Thank you so much, Mario, always for your time. Battle ready, war ready. San Antonio, born and bred. Thanks for having us.
Always.
Thanks, Mario.